All right, back to it. I'm just going to jump right in. Again, my name is Mr. Lucan, one of the math teachers. Some of you had me, some of you haven't. Um, but we're going to go ahead and get done with part two of our intermediate algebra, section 8.1. So, yesterday we talked, or yesterday, that was weird. In the last video, we talked about combining like terms and classifying. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite each of these polynomials in standard form to kind of remind ourselves. Just a real quick, our EQ for the day, or for the video, I guess, is how can I combine polynomials by adding or subtracting. So yesterday we just had single polynomials. We classified them. So today what we're going to do is actually combine some together. So if I'm wanting to rewrite this expression in standard form, I can scan all four terms and see that x to the second power is the highest power I have, which is always a good idea because I want it in standard form, so I want highest powers or highest degrees to go first anyway. So 4x squared take away 12x squared is negative 8x squared. Again, when I'm combining using addition or subtraction, I do not change that exponent. And then plus 9x can combine with minus 19x. 9 take away 19 is negative 10, so that's minus 10x. That's in standard form. It's degree 2. It's a binomial because there's two terms. So yeah. This starts with 5 terms, which looks like a lot. Again, I like to scan it and look for what is the highest power, because we want standard form anyway. So 6x squared and 2x squared. Well, 6 plus 2 is 8. Then I go to my next highest power, which would be the x that doesn't have an exponent. And again, that's power 1. There's no other power 1s, so minus 15x. And negative 9 and negative 8 can combine to be negative 17. My calculator is working now. Again, if you're going to combine two negative numbers in the calculator, you either need negative 8 plus negative 9 or negative 8 take away using the subtraction button, 9. If you try to use the minus button right off the bat, it's not going to work for you, and it'll say error or just give you the wrong number, which is not what we want. So that's kind of just a quick review from yesterday. Again, not yesterday, the previous video. How are polynomials added? It's essentially just combining like terms. Again, I know there are parentheses, and we kind of treat parentheses as like, oh, these things have to stay together. But if you look at this polynomial, there's nothing I can combine in there. There's 3 terms, 4x squared, 8x, and minus 12. None of those can be combined together. And then the same thing is going on in the second trinomial. I have 3 terms, and none of them can combine together. So in order to add these, I am going to kind of take some from each set of parentheses to combine. Across all 6 terms, my highest power is 2, so 4x squared plus 3x squared. I'm going to go ahead and combine those to 7x squared. Next up, I have 8x, and that can combine with 10x to make 18x. And finally, I have negative 12 plus 7, just to double check in the old calculator, no shame in using this, is minus 5. Okay, so that is, I've combined them, and I've already have my answer in standard form, which is kind of nice. If I take a look at this next set of trinomials, and I want to combine them, again, I scan real quick and see x to the third is my highest power. There's no other x to the thirds, so I'm just going to copy that down. Next is, if I'm scanning all 5, is x to the second, and there's only one term that has x to the second power. Then I have negative 13x and negative 10x, which is minus 23x. And finally, I have, what haven't I used yet? Orange, positive 1 and positive 11. I already used orange. Green. Positive 1 and positive 11 makes 12. Okay, so that's how we can add polynomials together, just combining like terms. Okay, go ahead, pause real quick, see if you can combine these two pairs of polynomials, and then we'll move on. Highest exponent I see is power 2, so that's 11x squared. Negative 15 and positive 18 makes positive 3x. And then finally, I have 3, take away 11, and that's minus 8. So there's my new final combined version. It's a trinomial and a degree or power 2. Here, now I got terms all over the place. These are not written in standard form, but again, go ahead and scan all 6. I see my highest power is power 2, or x to the second power. Negative 2 plus 4 is going to give me positive 2, and then I keep x squared the same. 15x take away 2x is positive 13x. And finally, 8 and 19 added together makes 27. Okay, so hopefully those went well for you, and if not, again, we have practice and some teacher availability to help out. Subtraction is the same idea, okay, but what can be tough is that this minus sign in between means that negative has to kind of distribute. That minus sign applies to all 3 terms. Anything after the minus sign has to be subtracted from whatever comes before the minus sign. So what I like to do, and I know a lot of other teachers like this as well, is let's keep the first trinomial in this case. Let's keep that the same. I'm going to go ahead and change the minus sign to a plus sign, okay? And that I can do that as long as I then switch everything after that from positive to negative or from negative back to positive. So instead of 4x squared in here, this will be negative 4x squared. Instead of minus 7x, I have plus 7x. Instead of plus 16, I have minus 16. Okay, so I switched the minus sign to a plus sign, and then I changed everything from positive to negative only in the second polynomial. And now I'm going to go ahead and combine these together. So 15x squared and negative 4 is 11, or 15 minus 4. Negative 6x plus 7x is plus 1x. Now you don't need to put the 1 in front. I'm going to go ahead and just do it to emphasize. And then I have positive 12 and minus 16. 12 take away 16 is negative 4. So I can just put a minus 4 at the end. Okay. So if it's subtraction, change that minus sign just in between to a plus, and then just the second set of parentheses changes. Okay. Again, just another example. Same idea. So if you want to skip to the you try, go for it. Nope, I'm going to keep this in the same color. So I'm going to, again, keep my first polynomial the same. And then I'm going to switch this to a plus sign. And then instead of negative 2x, I have positive 2x, minus 12, and plus 7x squared. Again, keeping standard form in mind, I'm going to go ahead and just identify my highest power is power 3. That's the only term like it. Next is power 2, so it's also by itself. What do we got now? We got negative 5x and plus 2x, which is negative 3x. And finally, what color? Green. We have negative 10 and negative 12. Negative 10 take away 12 more is going to give me negative 22. Okay. And then we're done. It can't be simplified anymore. It can't be condensed or made shorter. So we move on. Go ahead and pause. Give it, if you haven't already, give the you try problem a shot. And then we'll summarize and get out of here. So we got 12x minus 3x squared plus 11. And then we switch to minus negative 14 plus 7x to the third minus 11x squared. Okay. Here I've got only 1 x to the third. Whoops. Now, I changed all the signs in the middle, but I didn't change this minus sign. I kept it minus. I need to make sure I change that to a plus. That would be a silly mistake to make. Okay, so I have 7x to the third, no other x to the thirds. Next is negative 3x squared and negative 11x squared, so that makes negative 14. And then we have 12x to the first, and that's all by itself. Then we finish up with 11 and negative 14, which is negative 3. So there's my 4-term polynomial. That's degree 3. So summary, how can I combine polynomials by adding or subtracting? I'm just going to put adding. If it's asking you to add, that's simply combine like terms. Man, I apologize if you're expecting super good handwriting, especially on an iPad. It's not going to happen. And subtracting polynomials, I'm going to switch the minus sign to a plus sign. What? My gosh. Then switch all terms in the second polynomial. And by switch, I mean go from negative to positive, or vice versa. Man, it's real good handwriting. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed. See you later.